Alright, and it looks like we are back. Welcome everyone to the Ales and Fails Twitch stream. I'm your host, Ale Wolf. I drink and I fail. Today we have a bit of a revamp today. Decided to switch things up with the scenes. Decided to give things a bit more of a softer look, if you will. Simply to reflect a few changes with things. That's not going to change our mission though. We are going to continue talking about our favorite ales and lagers and going to continue playing some nice and cozy games. So today on the docket, let me just check that my audio is playing the right things. Yeah, so today on the docket, we'll be playing Banjo-Kazooie, a game that we started a few sessions ago. I think it's been slightly over a month since I picked it up, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Today, we'll actually be tackling Freezeezy Peak, if my memory serves me right. But before we do that, let's go ahead and discuss what's on tap today. And old-time viewers of the stream will remember this one. This is a Radeberger Pilsner. So what's a Pilsner? Well, a Pilsner is a beer. It's specifically a type of lager originating in Europe. It's a type of pale lager, and by pale, it's a little off color in comparison to a golden lager. Let me go ahead and pour this. It is one of my challenges to do two things at once. And so as I was saying, it's not necessarily golden, like golden ales. It's pale in the sense that it's got a little cloudiness to that yellow color. And so yes, Pilsners are originating from Europe. And I would say that my favorite Pilsners have often been from Europe. I find the ones that are sold commercially in American markets lack that flavor, hop, character that most European ones have, and I think that that's by design. Whatever the case, it is quite a hearty experience. I found quite a good time with Radeberger Pilsner, and so whenever I do find it at the store, I do tend to pick it up. Fang and ale, Wolfkin. And so it's it is crisp. It's got a certain level of bitterness, but it's nothing that I would repudiate. Quite light itself. It's a great opener, I want to say. So certainly I recommend it. But moving that aside, let's go ahead and get started. And let's go to our scene. That's playing. Let's go ahead and update our beer list. Radeberger Pilsner. And I don't know if that shows now. There it goes. Alright, I think we're good to go. So now I don't actually need to remind you what I'm drinking, it's right there on screen. Just in case you were wondering. Alright, let's get the show on the road. I don't believe we've been using save states for this game. simply using the conventional save methodology of the original game itself. Haven't had to save scum anything thus far, which is always a pleasure. That is, quote unquote, how true gamers do it. But what do you think? Do you think that using save states is the right way to play classic games? Do you abhor it? Do you denounce those that specifically only use save states? One thing that I specifically remember that they upgraded in the Banjo-Kazooie sequel was that this main attack, this bear paw, was replaced by some sort of Kazooie related move, which made it a little bit easier to use. I believe that the bear paw itself is actually not very good in terms of range, and so I often tend to lose enemies whenever I fight them using that particular attack. I rather just roll into them. And this is Gobi's Valley. This is the entrance to Gobi's Valley. So where's the other location? And this is what happens when you don't play for a few weeks. You kind of just forget your way around the place. No time, old man. It is so bright. Okay, I do believe this is the last room we explored last we met. So let's go ahead and move on then. And that's still not great. There we go. It's a little cozier. One more new move, and I'm hoping that it is the beat bomb. I do remember there's a good deal of flying in this particular level. Let's see if we can do it like this. I should probably check if there's actually stuff outlining the igloo itself. Generally there's something like a mumbo token or something like that. And I believe this is where Boggy the bear lives. Why would there just be a giant head at the end of the table? Child abandonment. I guess you can't really speak to them. Well, I guess we have to go save the father. Wash away the sins of the father. Wait a second. Why would there be a picture of us in here? But no time to worry about that. Oh, there he is. He's not dead. What did he eat? Could it have been a jiggy? Excuse me. No, wait. These camera angles just kill me. So it's not this. No, how do we get the thing out of the stomach? I'm surprised. I thought it would have been just a simple beak buster that got the answer. And now I thirst for knowledge. Let's continue exploring, find some answers. You can already hear those snowmen. I like a clockwise explanation. I know this map is rather circular. And I really wish the vein or the bane of every single ice level and every platformer is the snow level, because you know you're going to slip on the ice. Whoa, hey, that wasn't expected. Jeez. I'm getting my butt kicked by some ice cubes. Alright, well hopefully we don't run into too many of those. And I remember that there's Nehaho. Careful with the water. Is there anything in the water worth collecting? It seems like just eggs and golden feathers. This tune brings back certain memories. Oh, I see. Oh, come on. That is some level of screaming. Could you not move so fast, guys? You're about to die. This is ridiculous, by the way. Oh, that was way too close. No. Why do these things even eat meatballs? The world will never know. Could you just not? Ah, the hit collision on these things. I don't even know why I'm doing this anymore. A cry against humanity, as they say. I'm still enjoying that Pilsner. Alright, let's give this another shot. Perhaps we will do these Twinklies justice. Can you guys slow it down, perhaps? That might be nice. No? Oh, okay, we just popped out of sequence. I think that third one has a very long reach. It's very frustrating. You know what, I'm trying to time this. Probably giving it more thought than it needs. I think I just need to go. Do it by brute force, as they say. A dangerous game of whack-a-mole. That could have been saved. It could have been saved. Not even close. I think it's an issue with our depth perception. Let's give it one more go. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't even know why they're whining about it. Seems like there's an endless supply of them. It's always that third one that eludes me. And I think we may have gotten it. Okay. And there it goes. Victory. Third time's the charm. Oh, I guess now we get to actually go inside the Christmas tree. Oh, we've got a Mumbo token to boot. There's a present. Let go of the thing, buddy. Ah, that's not what I wanted. And of course, the camera control in close quarters like this is simply going to be leave much to be desired. The presents here have such a nice voice. And unfortunately, I'm only assuming I know what I'm doing in here. Keep going up. One more rung. I was putting up Christmas tree over 6 months ago. And I had one of those instances where I put up the Christmas tree lights. I plugged it, and I realized that one stretch of the lights was just completely off, which means that one of the lights was out. And of course, trying to find that light and replacing it was going to be a challenge. It took me well over an hour. What? Is it not open? Is it? Did I miss a challenge? What's going on here? Just go, just fall. Yeah, so trying to find that one delinquent light was quite frustrating. Wait, so the presents are gone. You know what I probably should have done is followed along to what the little light bulb said. And I might actually have a clue as to what I need to do here. But it's definitely not the rat-a-tat. And what's up there? Maybe it's going through the Christmas light. Okay. Maybe I have to go through the star. And there's Bottles' molehill. This is actually one of my favorite moves. What a thoughtful lad. So no more moves in this world. Do I have a launch pad around here? But I might now be able to get rid of those snowmen. What is... okay. Again, camera is not necessarily your friend around here. Beautifully timed jump. Let's go. Close but no cigar. I wonder where that phrase came from. Does anyone know? Close but no cigar. Is it not? I don't understand. I thought I went through. I guess that's not it. I am puzzled by the lights and what exactly the requirement is. Let's see what we can do here. Well, we got it. For our first time using the beak bomb after decades. And there is that piece of the puzzle. The water might as well be lava. Let's try to get the rest of those buggers. That's a bit too close for me. Wow, that was a good shot. Lava and everything. Oh, I also hurt myself. I tend to forget that the jump distance does matter when landing in this game. Who? Waza? Alright, well that was a unusual. Alright, give me just a second here. Alright, let's keep on those, destroying these, snowmen. Give ourselves the ability to fly freely. So another thing is they don't materialize until you're relatively close to them. One of the limitations of the N64, no doubt. And of course I lose my flight every time I touch the ground, which is not great. Welcome, Tony Sweats. Be a fan of Banjo-Kazooie, perhaps? Maybe let's give that beak bomb another shot. All right. One nice feature for flying would probably have been a targeting reticle for this particular move, since it really is just trying to align Kazooie's head when you take off. And that's not what I meant to do. Alright. That was a close one. I think it's a total of 4, potentially 5 snowmen that I have to take out. And I think I'm at the 3 count, so... God, this camera is killing me. I look at a Mumbo's hut in the distance, which suggests that there is a transformation to be had in this location. There we go. Nice find. And that was stupid. Hopefully whatever transformation actually allows you to swim in the water. That's probably something that I need to get some of these musical notes from the frozen lakes. Okay, so now I'm sure that whatever transformation is going to be far less menacing than that of a bear. One thing that I'm noticing from this particular romp is the fact that jiggies take a little bit more effort in this world than most others. I feel like by this point in earlier levels I probably would have gotten 4 or 5 of them. Not meeting enough requirements. No, there's a pad over here. Yeah, I remembered correctly. And there's our final. Wow. It's not very often that you can actually recover from the beat bomb. So just a bit proud of myself. And there we go. Not only did I manage to find the Jiggy, I also happened to be able to get rid of those nuisances for the rest of the level, which is certainly a good plus. And that's not gonna cut it. Okay. For a moment there, I thought it wasn't going to be able to cut it. And let's go all the way to the top. Running out of feathers. Let's see if we can pull off one of these. There's more than one. Also, dangerously low on feathers. Didn't need to do the beat bomb. Would this happen to be our first? Yes, it is. Try not to fall off the snowman. My supply of red feathers is quite low, and so getting back up to the top might be slightly more difficult if I don't collect everything at once. Very nice. Huh. So another one in the bag. I believe it's 3 presents, if I'm not mistaken. actually did not need to fly. Let's start descending down some more. Jump back. That would have led us up here. Is there anything on the pipe itself though? And that was a simple one. And that's excuse me, that's a sled. I believe taking the sled will actually take us all the way down to Boggy at the beginning. Before we do that, let's see everything else we can squeeze out of the snowman itself. I'm honestly just scared of falling off the scarf. I wonder if I can just walk it. Maybe I actually don't need the grip of the talons. Here's wondering if using the Nintendo 64 Switch controller would be better in terms of C-stick usage. For games like this, of course. I can't say I'm avid enough to try and score one of those. I think I'll make it work with the Switch Pro controller. Okay, and now we'll take the sled. See whatever honeycomb pieces there are here. I think we're at full health at this point. Oh, and of course the broom. That was a close one. I felt like I was about to fall. Alright. Now is as good a time as ever. And there you go, old bean. All better. And that's 3 in the bag. What's our current progress? How do we see everything else? There we go. So at least a good collection of musical notes, but certainly far from complete. Did I not get those at the base? I feel like finding most of these musical notes is always a matter of both exploration and luck. Alright. think now is the time to go in search of Mumbo's hut and see what we're missing there. Let's see what this is about. I certainly wish I had the mystery of this tree figured out, but not yet. And like I said, the nice thing about this particular world is just that it's a perfect circle. Oh, and this is the race. So what? Only someone smaller, you say? I guess we'll have to go find that someone. And if I'm not mistaken, the transformation in this world is another walrus. I don't know that that's my favorite transformation in this game, but it's certainly quite practical. I would say that I like the alligator transformation though, because it comes with an attack. I feel like a lot of the transformations in this game are specifically to avoid environmental hazards. Like if we'll recall, the ant itself was actually used to climb ant hills. The alligator was used to avoid the swamp piranhas. And then the walrus probably will avoid the freezing waters. And things like that. Very few of them actually come with new attacks. And I think in TikTok Wood you do get a bee, and the nice thing about that one is that you can actually fly around. Alright. Maybe we need to do it. That's not what I meant to do. Oh, I see. Wait, there was raiding boots? Were the raiding boots on the other side? Maybe, I guess we'll never know now. And you gotta do one of these ninja guided moves. I know it's possible. I just did it. Ah, that is painful. That is painful. I give up. Maybe when I'm flying next time. And before we take on the transformation, let's go ahead and see if there's anything on the rafters. Sometimes there's something fairly significant. Maybe like today, where we have a jiggy here. But if we could just... Ah, there we go. Alright, and 91 notes out of 100. We're very close. We've got the money to spare. Alright, and I think we need a quick break here. We will be right back. Okay, and apologies for that. Had to get something at the door. So, if you're just joining us, we're still enjoying a Radeberger Pilsner, a German Pilsner. And with that, let's get back to it. Actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and pour the rest of this out. So does anyone know what the difference between a lager and an ale are? So lager are bottom fermenting beers. The yeast actually descends to the bottom, whereas ales, they ferment near the top and generally ferment at more closer to room temperature, whereas lagers are colder in placement when it comes to fermentation. A little fun fact, as they say. Okay, so hopefully this allows us to get the last pieces of, the last musical notes here. You know, it sure would be nice that if the walrus itself gave us the ability to move slightly better in water environments, like the frog suit from Super Mario Bros. 3. Unfortunately, it does nothing of the sort. Just as it moves on land just as well as it does in water. Are we gonna get it? Huzzah! I thought it was gonna start. Excuse me. I thought finding all the musical notes would be challenging, starting with Freezeezy Peak, but maybe not just yet. Maybe I don't need to resort to a guide just yet. Let's go find that walrus that we saw earlier. Maybe it's all the way over there. It's a bit obnoxious. How does a walrus jump? I think it's over there. Oh, and I think this is the final present. Let's do this. There's a mumbo token. I feel at some point I'm going to be running low on mumbo tokens, so it's always important to take as many of them as I see. Where did it go? Oh, yes, over there. Maybe? Is that the cave? The Cave of Wonders. Hello, brother walrus. Now, did anybody see the movie Tusk? That's one movie I never need to see again. Some additional feathers for our troubles. I hear a Jinjo somewhere in the vicinity. What's up? Where is that ginger? Looks like we're gonna have to come here as a bear and bird in order to actually reach that one. Always interested whenever we have one of these winding tunnels. Oh, the second piece. So we have all the pieces in this world. Nice. And hopefully we can steer clear of that icicle. Icicle, ice cube. As I said, we don't have any forms of attack. Okay, so before we lose our walrus form, the one thing we have to do is win that race. And I believe there's 2 versions of the race. And then just a second here. That's a bit better. One of them is with the walrus, and then the other one you have to do with the running shoes, which we don't actually have yet. So we'll have to come back for that piece another time. And I think it's perhaps over here. No. I think we need to keep moving. Even though I already know we're probably gonna have to go through this as part of the race itself. So 2 N64 races that I am reminded of whenever I go to Ice Worlds. One of them is the penguin race in Super Mario 64, in which there was one against a standard penguin, and then you had a one against a bigger penguin, and I think that one was after the end of the game, when you had 120 stars. The other one that I remember is this one. The first time is as a walrus, and then the second time I believe it's by yourself. Alright, let's give it a shot. Let's see if I remember my stuff. Simple enough, right? What? Oh, come on. I'm pretty sure. Okay. Well, I'm glad it didn't let me go through the entire race. Also, please don't make me take damage from that. Okay. I'm glad that it didn't make me take damage. How come he can speed up? I don't have any nitrous. Get out of the way, buddy. This guy, he's just hogging up the road. Try to hug the inside curves on this one. Oh, come on! That is so bad. That is so bad. If only I had Mario Kart rubber band physics, it would be nicer. Hey, come on, dude, let me go through. Wow, I was blocked. I was literally blocked. I could have won that one even at the last minute had it not been for his gigantic body. Well, as it is with Ales and Fails tradition, let's try again. Yes, we get it. Move on. .com. Whoa, hey dude. There you go. Chump. Wow, that was bad. Alright, there we go. And that wasn't even a perfect trial, so I'm gonna say not too shabby. Okay, I think now we are done with the transformation itself. Let's go back to Bear and Bird. Sure would be nice if there was some way to actually turn off the transformation without having to go back to see Mumbo. Great use of those eggs. And there we go. Bang it in. Give me a quick second here, just a bit of housekeeping, as they say. Okay, so now we can actually take the wading boots back out. definitely not enough time to do much of anything else. Yeah, hopefully this is the last ginger. What if I attack him? Nah, I guess there wasn't much there to be done. Nice, that was the last ginger. Beautiful. And through this glass door, ladies and gentlemen, is the faded glass key, which can be accessed through certain nefarious means. Is there anything else in this cave we can do as Bear and Bird? Nah, I think not. I think there's two more things that I think need doing in my mind. One of them is returning the presents to Boggy's kids. And then the other is to push the buttons on the giant snowman. So let's go ahead and take care of those. Let's go for the easy one first. I think I might specifically remember playing this level during Christmas season once when I was a lad. And maybe that's part of the reason why I remember this particular level as fondly as I do. Sometime in the 90s. And so presents. Here's one. I would certainly love to see what the contents of these are. I wonder which one of these got an N64. Okay, and now let's go and push those buttons. And again, I know that there is something to be done in this Christmas tree, I just don't know how to activate it. There's a one. And one more. I certainly like the flying controls here far more than Mario 64. Wow, I am dead. So that's 8 pieces out of 9. What else am I missing here? So there's the race. and I can't complete that until I have the running shoes, or at least I won't complete that until I have the running shoes. But then there is something else here with the Christmas tree, and I don't know what it is. Let's go back up the snowman. Just fly all the way to the top. It would certainly be more exciting. I don't think there's anything here. Maybe I need to beak bump through the star? Potentially? That doesn't make sense. I'll look this up for just a second. Let's see. Freezeezy Peak Christmas tree. So protect the twinklies, which I believe we did. Closest hook. Then you have to fire 3 eggs into the light switch found on the back of the tree. Oh, I see. That is a ridiculously hard jiggy. I also just wasted all of my feathers. So I wonder if maybe the right thing to do would be to actually step out of the level and get some more feathers first. I don't want to protect the twinklies again though. Is there any more feathers in this level? Ah, I should have saved up. I had 30 feathers. Well, there's some feathers in the water if I become the walrus again. Might as well go for it. What is... Jeez, come on, dude. No waiting boots. That is unfortunate. Alright, let's just do it. Take a hit. I fear there's a good chance we're not gonna make it. But the last thing we lose is hope. Okay, so now let's collect those feathers. You know, I was recently reading on the original Dumbo movie from Disney, and I was reminded by the fact that the original reason why Dumbo believed he could fly was because he had something called the magic feather. was until he realized that he could fly without it. Very much a motif explored similarly by Space Jam. Ah, where are all those feathers? I actually haven't seen the new Dumbo. Didn't hear very good things about it. And here's treasure trove. Ah, nice. I do love the pervasiveness of feathers and other things in this game. Any feathers around here? Just imagine the main reason we're doing this is to avoid the Twinklies level again. Now question, can we do the challenge with 12 feathers, chat? Perhaps it's impossible to grasp that answer now, but we'll certainly try. This is the sort of thing that separates the men from the boys, as they say. And that was the last of our Radeberger Pilsner. Should we complete this challenge? I think we've earned ourselves a well-deserved break. Gonna get a second helping. Welcome Z to the chat. Here's hoping that I am not interrupting your workflow. I appreciate the thought. I am simply laying ideas out there. Feel free to respond at your convenience. Your presence is all that's really required. Required? No, appreciated. And so the objective here is to turn on the Christmas tree. That'll set off a timer. We'll run to the jet pad and hopefully go through the Christmas star 3 times, I believe. What a nice thing to say. Much appreciated. As I was just suggesting, this level would be quite nice to play during the holidays. But maybe by that time we'll find additional games to play with similar motifs. Alright, 41 seconds. Let's see what we can do here. Alright, made it once. 27 seconds on the clock. 8 feathers. Ooh. 7 feathers and 13 seconds on the clock. And I've whipped it. I have whipped it, ladies and gentlemen. Sadness. I think we're gonna have to go and do the thing that I dreaded to do, which is go back to the start of the level and get some more red feathers. I definitely don't think that this can be accomplished without additional feathers, which is fine. At least it purchases us just a bit more time on this level, which, as Z suggested, is actually quite lovely. And welcome Kitty Katex Banjo 18. I am going to make a wild guess here and assume that you are a fan of Banjo-Kazooie. Either that or the musical instrument banjo. Either of those are fine. Alright, and the quickest way out of the level is just through here, I believe. Actually, while we're exiting the level, we can probably get the Witch's Star. The Witch's Jiggy, as they say. Yes, of course, Banjo from Banjo-Kazooie is the one I loved. That was just a wild guess on my part. But again, thank you very much for following. And I hear an unfriendly voice here. I think that one's gonna require a beak bomb. And again, I don't have the feathers to spare. Actually, let me ask you, Kitty. Did you play Banjo-Tooie, the sequel? Perhaps a player of nuts and bolts, and they are a rare breed. My Twitch profile picture is my plush self and Banjo. I'll have to check it out. That sounds amazing. Ah, the running shoes. Okay, it seems like there's a far more elaborate strategy here. I think we may have already done this particular part over here. Maybe the running shoes itself was actually the thing to be discovered. So I guess the productive thing would probably be to come back here when the running shoes are active. Actually, that's interesting. Did you actually ever finish Banjo-Tooie? I specifically remember starting it and enjoying it a lot, but I think I got overwhelmed by the amount of stuff that you could do. And dropped it for one reason or another. I think it was simply to find more time to focus on it because I knew that it was going to be a slightly meatier experience, and then of course I never found the time to do so. And so it's always been one of my shames, as they say. Character self is named Kitty Kate. KK. Well, there's an item on my bucket list to get 100% on Banjo-Tooie. I'm going to say that if we dare to dream and Nintendo Switch Online releases Banjo-Tooie on the N64 library that I might actually play it then. Otherwise, I know that it is available through the Xbox collection, but I don't own the hardware, unfortunately. I would agree, Banjo is very much a cutie bear. Certainly one of my favorite bears. Not too many bears in my history. Yogi. I am struggling to think here. And clearly one thing that I should have done was also to refill my honeycomb pieces. I'm going to get pelted out of existence very shortly here. The rare replay version is probably still the way to go. Actually, I have read similar things online. People do enjoy that version more better. More better. That's not a phrase. Yeah, and as I have mentioned during these streams, the Switch Pro controller is certainly not the ideal way to play this game. A lot of the C buttons and C button Z and C button configurations laid out on the right stick are just not an ideal setup. Wow. Banjo is a good champ. I like the fact that the 1-up icon or the 1-up trophy is actually just a picture of Banjo himself, flexing. Not enough Banjo. I will also say that one of the games that I've never played in the Banjo series, and not many people really mention it, is that GBA game, Grunty's Revenge. And nobody really talks about it very much, but I've always been interested in it. Honestly, given that I have put in as much time as I have into N64 games in this stream, I have heavily thought about getting that N64 controller when it becomes available, but I actually haven't pulled the trigger for one reason or another. I am sure that it would be a far superior experience to the old Switch Pro controller. My character self would be a bear too. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure you would make a wonderful bear. Alright, let's try this one more time. Right, there's another Game Boy Advance entry. I think it's Banjo Pilot. Maybe. And I think that was a takeoff of Diddy Kong Racing. Like, it was supposed to be the sequel to Diddy Kong Racing. But of course, because Rare became a Microsoft property, that never actually happened. Alright. This is awful. Maybe I just need to fade. There we go. Hold it there. Maybe. Alright. Let's make the run for it. Try one more time. Alright, 41 seconds on the clock. Please. That was wonderful. Is there any point to trying? I can't believe that the geometry was such that Banjo was able to stand up on the star, thus nullifying my flight ability. 1 in a million, Doc. 1 in a million. Well, a bit of a chatter confusion there. I see. Sorry, folks. I'm not being as responsive as I should. Probably a bit too focused on this light bulb situation. And that's not what I meant to do. I'm gonna regret that very soon, aren't I? But yes, much bear love in this chat. I am very tempted to just beat bomb through this thing, make it faster. Okay, and one more. 20 seconds on the clock. Let's get some good distance. The miracle of Christmas, right? Please. Ah, yes. Success. And let not I was about to say if the last part was time-based, I would have cried. And that was not happening. The cute little Banjo princess. Now that's a worthy moniker. Flying in this series is so very nuanced. You have to contend with verticality. That's absolutely true. As much as I like Banjo-Kazooie flying in comparison to Super Mario 64 flying, one of the things that I dislike specifically about it in this game is just the fact that you can't actually control your verticality very much. You actually have to depend simply on how long you have been flying and your descent, and really the only control you actually have is flapping your wings. Alright. Faithful recreation of the original for better and for worse. No doubt that thumbstick. I actually still have my N64 controller somewhere in one of my closets, and I'm sure that the thumbstick is not, it's actually quite loose. It just rattles whenever you handle the controller. But again, I might invest in it. We'll see how it goes. And now let's just get out of this level. Like I said, 9 out of 10 jiggies is all that you can reasonably do in this level without getting the running shoes. And where's the starting pad? Sound like there was a victim to Mario Party 1. You know, it took a few moments for me to make that connection, but yes, it was definitely a victim to Mario Party 1. If you know, you know. Jeez, come on, friend. Alright, so the flight pad that spawned is somewhere in the middle of this large room. And it's not in this crater. I need sustenance. So it's not here. Mayhaps up top. Cute little Banjo princess married to Banjo. And Our flight path might be no. I am certain it was somewhere in this room. What am I missing here? That's old Brenty. That didn't seem to be that high. Oh, I think maybe the flight pad only appears based on a limited time. So we push the button and then we run all the way over. Whoa, hey. So let's try to see if we can actually... Try not to get hit by that snowman. Enjoyed some invincibility frames there. Okay, and so here's the flight pad. Of course, and it's time-based. And clearly another challenge that we have to complete with the running shoes. But then we'll be able to fly, and I think the objective at that point is to break the witch's eyes. Potentially, maybe? I don't know if I remember that correctly. My profile picture is now my cute little banjo princess with banjo. Ah. Oh, I see that. Very nice. Very much like. Okay. But with that, let's go ahead and take a break here. Let's go ahead and get something else. And we will be right back.
Thank you.
what I need to play is actually playing. Okay, mic is on. Okay, so as I was just suggesting, I went ahead and got something else. This one is a Numb and Number, a hopping from Fall River Brewing, which is not a brewery that I'm very familiar with. I picked this one up, if you can guess, because of the can artwork. It's actually supposed to be a take on the movie Dumb and Dumber. They had a dogmobile, I think it was called a shagmobile, and so Numb and Dumber is simply a take on the title Dumb and Dumber. If you haven't seen Dumb and Dumber, certainly one of the funniest movies I saw back in the day. It's a little problematic these days, as with most works from the late 90s, early 2000s. So try to look at it objectively from that perspective if you're going to see it today. So Numb and Number is a hazy IPA. Not only is it a hazy IPA, it's actually a double hazy IPA. Let's go ahead and pour this one while I remember my lines. So, what is a hazy IPA? Well, most of you may know an IPA as simply a pale ale with rather bittery notes, which is fine, but it's not the whole of the story. A hazy IPA takes the same amount of hop content that you would find in a conventional IPA, but rather than use it for bitterness, which is not something everyone fancies, it actually uses its flavor and fragrance. And the way that it does that, it's actually quite interesting. You don't actually boil the hops during the initial boiling of the grains and the worts. You actually add the hops in during the secondary fermentation process. And just because you're not boiling those hops, none of those bittering agents ever make it into the beer. And so what you end up having is rather a floral, maybe even tropical concoction at the end. Certainly one of my favorite beer styles. It's come into great prominence recently. If you haven't had a good hazy IPA in a while, I suggest you find one. They're very, very hard to miss these days. Fang and Ale. And again, very tropical notes here. I want to say maybe slight grapefruit, maybe some pineapple there. Because it's a double hazy IPA, it does return some of those bittering notes towards the finish, but nothing I would find offensive. So if you're out there in the wild at your closest Bedmo or Total Wine, look for Numb and Number. Certainly a good serving. Let me actually go back and log it in, because if you don't log it in into Untapped, then did it actually happen? Numb and Number. Go ahead and collect that. Okay, so it's at least updated on the web scene. And I think that's enough of that. Let's actually go back to the game here, which is what 99% of the people are here for. So let's see how much progress we can actually make. The next level on our list is Gobi's Valley, and we might go maybe 30 more minutes in Banjo-Kazooie before we switch games. I've got a hankering to play something a bit more modern, but not too modern. So I believe the entrance is here. think the thing I remember the most about this particular level was the fact that there is a camel that screams a lot because you have to ground pound it several times. If that's okay. Are there a pair of wading boots here somewhere? For a moment there I thought there was. Maybe in one of these rooms. You know, I was recently listening to a podcast that was talking about Tom Cruise movies, and of course they were talking about Top Gun, the new Top Gun that is. I actually haven't seen it myself, but I know it's highly recommended. And they were talking about how his filmography hasn't decreased in quality all these decades. But then somebody brought up the new Mummy from the Dark Universe, and the conversation grew quiet. I actually haven't seen it myself, but it certainly would be very interesting to see it. Oh, come on, I almost made it. Ah, please, regenerate me. Saggy Maggie. That's Hag Monthly. Cold worm juice. That's a bit weak. Merci beaucoup. And just a bit of housekeeping here before we jump into the level. Just a second. Okay. Where were we? Let's do this. I hope the move is the running shoes. They've been clamoring for use. And I think from here on out, all the honeycomb, all the beehives have bees about them, which is not good. Alright, let's see. Hopefully that's not a slippery... Okay, good. Got the yellow Jinjo. What does this guy need? Let me guess. Eggs? Okay, so I think we need to bring Gobi all the way over here. I'm still gonna try. You know I'm still gonna try. If there's anything else in here. Rise. Metal Gear Rise. Now that's a portentous theme. Can't go into the desert sands because apparently there's sand snakes that bite you as soon as you step in. Whoa, hey. Excuse me and my declining health. Looks like I can't actually attack those things. And there's a magic carpet on that side. Like that, of course. Heels on this side. You know, it's funny, one of the first cheats that you get from that cheating book is the egg container surplus, and yet eggs is not something that I generally lack. Oh no. Okay, so maybe not anything there. What is the objective here? It certainly wasn't to just climb on the thing. Sorry, I was applying my drink and I know things maxim. Wait, I think I remember. No. My life is sadness. But I think we're supposed to jump on top of those cacti and throw eggs into the nose of the Sphinx. And I bet there's no mumbo transformation in this level. But what would have been the transformation if actually there was one? That's the question. Like a sand, it's a sand animal. A desert animal, like a desert hide, no. Desert snake. Maybe like a desert lizard. That might have made sense. Or actually a camel. He would have taken the place of Gobi. Alright. I think one was enough on one side. So, one more, and we are gold. Very much a sneeze. And goodness bless you. I'm trying to remember the last time I was in a desert level with an Egyptian motif, and it was probably during my last playthrough of the original Kingdom Hearts. Don't even think about it. I think we can outrun the hand as long as we are on the talent trot. Okay. I hear a Jinjo is in the vicinity. Is there anything in the back? Yes, there is. The Jinjo we have been looking for all along. It only lasts a few seconds, so that's a little frustrating. But that's the rules of the game. I forget what my up direction is when I compare it to my C up in my mind. Again, that's one of the things that would probably be facilitated if I had my if I had a Nintendo 64 controller. Certainly wouldn't say perfection, but at least it's done, and that's all we have to do in here. And I certainly don't want to take a jump off of a height that I can't estimate. Life energy is certainly has certainly become a limited commodity in this game, but that's mostly because of my own gaming abilities. And still enjoying a Numb and Dumber if anyone's just joining the chat. A double hazy IPA. Probably only a bit longer until we finish with Banjo-Kazooie here for the afternoon. Feeling like playing something else. Not too often that we get to do a long Thursday stream anyway, so let's try and wrap up with something special. Everything looks the same. So much yellow. trying to tread carefully so that I don't randomly fall into that chasm at the bottom of the screen. Because rest assured, if I make it down there, I'm not getting out. I also know that if I touch those flowing sands as the bear, I'm just gonna slip. There's one of those bees. A pesky bee. Whew, okay. I thought I was about to slip. Let me guess, there's a honeycomb piece right there, isn't there? Oh, huh. Could have fooled me, but I don't want to touch this texture. Whoa. Like Coop with a quick one says. Run. Oh, I didn't make it. I may have been simply too focused on the musical notes here. And as we suggested before, an image of the powerful banjo. There's the waiting boots there. I'm gonna give this race one more shot. Maybe it does involve just having the racing shoes, but I don't know that for a fact. Why is it that it wastes several minutes watching that cutscene? Sorry, several seconds watching the cutscene. I might try that again, actually. Okay, I saw it. I don't need to see it again. Just let me move. Ridiculous. This one is pretty difficult, I have to say. Maybe there's some running shoes nearby that I can pick up before I actually hit that switch. And there's a little token over there. And that's not what I meant to do. Alright, but I think we have reached the end of our journey as soon as we find a safe haven. Here we go. Let's go ahead and Create a suspend point here. And I think next time we'll go ahead and pick it up from here. But yeah, I think we'll try something a bit more modern after this. If watching Banjo-Kazooie was your sole interest, I hate to see you go, but I understand. We'll probably play... I know. Let's go back to our grass and roots. So after the break, we'll be playing some No More Heroes. Travis Strikes Again. Is it Travis Strikes Again? No More Heroes. Hopefully I'll see you on the other side, and if I don't, stay thirsty, Wolfkin. See you in a few minutes, or see you next time. Okay, and we are back. If you're joining us from the earlier block, we've actually switched gears. We were originally playing Banjo-Kazooie, but I think we want to switch to something a little bit more modern, but only a little bit is the key phrase here. We've actually, this particular game is, how to say, it's certainly got a few years behind it. This is, what's the proper title? Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes. We actually started this game, I want to say maybe 3 weeks ago. We got a good hour into it. I believe we completed the first level, and so let's see what the next level actually holds for us. But before we do that, let's go ahead and remind our viewers what we're actually drinking. And so this is a Numb and Number, which is a double hazy IPA. Once again, love the can artwork, a reference to the classic Jim Carrey movie Dumb and Dumber. Hazy IPAs are more floral, more tropical than their West Coast counterparts, so I certainly recommend. This one's actually been quite good, very tropical, very floral. I certainly agree with it, so strong recommend. Follow me on Untappd for any more recommendations of the sort. Fang and Ale. But most of you didn't come here for beer reviews. Let's go and see what we can do.
Kill him and bring your daughter back. Then we're all square.
You smoking crack or what? Bring it back. Charlotte.
Don't think too much. Your brain is clogged with muscle. It'll just give you a headache.
And so this is just a replay of that original cutscene.
This is your final ball.
Looks like my luck has changed. Shitty luck, but luck all the same. I'm
It's
gonna
a
knock
magic
this
death ball
leftover
or
out of
something
the
like that.
goddamn park.
Don't end up getting...
Charlotte, we'll be seeing to it enough. Be patient.
A man's love for his daughter. Yes, we already saw all this. Can we just get to our file? Continue. Now, as I suggested earlier, last time I played this was over 3 weeks ago, so hopefully I remember what the controls are. I do remember not liking this jump. It's a bit too, let's say it's not floaty enough. Sure. My favorite place to change t-shirts is the bathroom. Fire Pro Wrestling. Well, I do like wrestling, but what is... that's a strong contender. I like that too. Deadly Premonition. Any preferences on chat? Isami Kodaka. That's probably a wrestler. I like the colors on that. And Unreal Green. Because the world is unreal. Let's go with the Fire Pro Wrestle. Let's see. Again, this is the first time we're actually playing with this character in terms of the No More Heroes games. So I didn't expect you to be able to actually change the shirt designs on these folks. Is that supposed to be a reference to Fatal Frame? I doubt it. Maybe I'm overgeneralizing things here. So it seems like they have matching shirts while Travis wears standard shirts. Batman wears these tank top shirts. This looks good. The t-shirt blog. Unlock all. This will unlock all the t-shirts. Why wouldn't I get that? Oh. Did I just unlock every t-shirt? That would be a real shame. And so we've been finding ramen. Tokyo Shoyu, an extremely simple ramen. Slurp up the opaque soup while taking in the aroma of soy sauce to really relax. The noodles are the flat, intertwining Hirauchi men type. Yup, this is Edo. This is old school ramen. It's like your tongue went on a funky journey through time. It also comes with a boiled egg, hard, not soft, lol. Thick cut char siu pork, and lots of green onions. Grab some pot stickers while you're at it, a lot of them, and you're not gonna need a beer. And you're gonna need a beer too. What? No beer. The ramen was stellar, but no beer means a penalty of minus 50,000 points. Gochiso sama deshita. That's, do I get to buy these, or what's the deal here? Alright, I think we'll leave the Hakata for later. I do love a good ramen. What is this? There's a fax. Travis touchdown. Before you begin the game, I want you to think hard for a second. Which is more important to you, your life or video games? This console, the DDMK2, brings death to its players. You played it, you should know this better than anyone. Diving into the world of the death drive will indeed make for an amazingly immersive experience. At the same time, the longer you spend inside, the more severe the damage it does to your brain. Even now, in just that single instant, your brain has been thrown into fear and rage by horribly disturbing white noise and signals from the machine. You're a clever guy, so I'm sure you've noticed it yourself. The construction of the human brain is extremely delicate and precise. The signals sent from this game destroy your brain tissue extremely easily and can even burn off your nerve tissue. I pray you'll turn back now while you can. God bless America. K. Why was that a fax? Articles from the legendary game magazine Death Drive magazine. I'm assuming it's supposed to be a spoof off of game magazines. Oh, nice. It certainly does remind me of those game magazines. Super high power. Does look like just like a cassette player. Is a pot. High quality speakers. Doesn't require a TV. I wonder if the controller is actually supposed to be your glove. The aroma pot. What kind of games will hit the market? So I think the first level of this game was called Electric Thunder Tiger. Alright, what else? Oh, I see. So it's a description of that first level. An addictiveness score of 3.74. TPS. Third person shooter. There's an aroma pot. I remember that section of the level. I don't remember there being any aroma pots. Left, left, down, up, left, 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 down, right. I don't know if that's supposed to be like the Konami code. Alright, well, these are tips for stage I've already passed. So that's Electric Thunder Tiger. Can I choose something else from here? No, I guess not. The Speltigger. I think this is Batman's car. I think this is as far as the boundaries take us. Actually, before I leave on the Speltigger, let me go ahead and see if I can change my shirt one more time, since now there's many more. The Wind Waker? No. Majora's Mask. Well, that is my favorite. Santa Destroy. The American Dream. Any shirt picks from chat? Oh, that one looks nice. I like the color scheme. Brawlout. Some of these are just advertising other games. That's a lot of shirts. Super hot. Honestly, I'm not even trying to pick one. I'm just trying to see all the ones that are available. Undertale. The Missing JJ. Saturday Morning RPG. I also like the color scheme on this, though the graphics are a bit disturbing. Alright, I'm actually just going to try to scroll through these as fast as possible. I can't imagine that streaming me selecting t-shirts is actually the most stimulating of experiences. I do love them donuts. Freddy Krueger. Alright, well, I think I know what we're doing. Yeah, why not? I am. My life has turned upside down ever since Batman showed up. I wonder what's happened since No More Heroes 2. Sylvia. I'm assuming Triple Star is a game developer in this world. Bad girl, back in the first game. She was certainly one of my favorites. No, I like the backstory. An arcade cabinet. Kind of like Polybius. There were 6 games. I'm assuming that's the number of levels in this game. Anything you want. And what would your one wish be? Famous last words. I love that tune. Scenario. I think I can only choose the one. I'm trying to ascribe a specific gaming experience to the setup that we have here. It's reminding me of something, but I can't quite place it. Potentially even something as obscure as the Virtual Boy. Well aware of that. People ask me, what's the meaning of killing if you're risking your own life? It doesn't mean shh. It's about instinct, not meaning. That spark lights up in your brain, and that sweet, sweet dopamine starts to flow. There's no meaning to men fighting. Men are born to fight. My name is Travis Touchdown. The legendary assassin? Nuh-uh. The dude of legend has really retired. My real story begins here. Get ready for the most hardcore badass assassin in history. What is this? You? Wow, that is some admirable pompadour. Bruno San Marino. Red ribbon like Dragon Ball? So they're gonna tell us where the death balls are. This is a bit confusing. Okay, so we're looking for a Japanese guy. The Rage Earth plan. Another way to put it would be the exclusivity cleansing. Or maybe genocide. That sucks. I don't get it. So these guys just showed up while he was riding his bicycle. Give him this very long-winded explanation. I agree. I am starting to wonder and fear if this is the actual gameplay of this level. This place is supposed to be pretty good. I totally automatically started thinking out loud. They use grapeseed oil for the fries. Fancy. I would certainly love a good burger. Kickstarting my digestive system. I remember back in the day when I exclusively ate well-done burgers because that's all that I knew and that's all that I had been taught. And that's certainly a choice, but it's no longer my choice. I think I only ever go medium rare these days. When I have burgers. The alluring garlic slice burger B set. Okay, is something going to happen now? I can't say that this has been the most stimulating of sections. I recommend the shakes here. So is this supposed to be a text adventure? I'd probably believe it if I had made a choice yet, but I have not. It's self-serve. Kamui Uehara. Oh, Kamui Uehara. Shake. Please let me finish my meal. Where are these death balls? These death balls are quickly starting to sound like Dragon Balls. Jean? Whoa, who is that? Wait, I thought Jean was his cat? Kind of an anthropomorphic cat though. Yeah. That'll cross anyone's wires any day. Eyes are dead. What's your tone? Okay, so now these two characters are talking to one another. You wanna take this cat on, pussy? Do we get to make a choice now? I will allow it. You just won't let up. Oh my god, my burger's finally here. What's gonna happen? Is it more text? Of course it is. What's the fastest you've been on? I don't think I've ever been faster than anything on the road more than 100 miles per hour. But of course I've been on a plane and that's supposed to be faster. And now we're at the car wash. The special place is in the back. Let's go. Your nose is bleeding. So we're close to the next death ball. Whoa, hey. We don't do motorcycles. Tsukiyo no Akari. Come around the back. Are we gonna fight? Some place with good barbecue. What's a good barbecue place? Unfortunately, all we have in the vicinity is Armadillo Willie's, which I would hardly call a good barbecue place. Things were different in the East Coast. Way back when. Do I look like it? I've seen you somewhere before. The dark web. That's not me. Ah, so she knows who he is. I can't say that I like the fact that I am actually not interacting with the story, but there is a certain charm to everything that's being presented to me. Alright, I think I get it. So you guys are looking for the death balls. And you can't get to one without going through me. I hope so. Please hand it off. Most people would be surprised. I'm ready to go anytime, anywhere. Gordon Gecko, that's the dude from... Where's Gordon Gecko from? Played by Michael Douglas in the movie... something related to Wall Street. Hey, the cat is cute. Oh no, we're not doing that. That's what I'd like to know. You kiss your mother with that mouth? You really want to die that badly? I'll kill kill you myself. Calm down. Listen, Akari. You do best to avoid dissing the cat. She's the wet dream of cat lovers everywhere. A talking cat. Bring it on, Travis. Can you only fight with your title on the line? This is getting intense. Calm down, calm down. What do you want? To make a new boss fight for this game. Gene, keep quiet. Can't ignore the cat. Okay, so now we're going to get to interact. A crossword puzzle, mayhaps. This is unusual. Seriously? Keys? Can you stop it? Dr. Juvenile. That sounds familiar, though I can't actually place it. Alright, here we are. A convenience store with a G. I'll try though. Death ball acquired. Really? Death ball get. Glad I tried cheating like that. I don't know what's happening. You gotta keep flexible head, otherwise you'll never crack anything. Beautiful. Okay. Bishop? Wait, I thought he died. The thing you asked for isn't in yet. This is the real deal, son. Favor to ask you. Are we actually going to get to play the game now? That'll take high concentration oxygenated water. Bring you the latest Mickey flick next time. I'm assuming he means Takeshi. Hold on a second, go ahead. I'll be standing by. Guess I should take this opportunity to explain. This guy's name is Radeberger Bishop, younger brother of Georgie Bishop, who was killed in No More Heroes 2. See, that's what I was thinking about. Took over his brother's shop, Beefhead, and reopened it as a video game shop. Bazariashvili. He puts flowers on his brother's grave every year. One time, Nikkei himself came to pay his respects. Man, Nikkei is so awesome. Also, just to avoid any misunderstandings, this thing with me talking to myself over here, this isn't a ripoff of that pervert Deadpool or whatever his name is. We did this first. We just wanted to make sure we're clear on that. I've heard of this before. The fourth wall, right? No. The instant the gamer grabs the controller, they are connected directly to the game. Travis has the ability to sense this stuff. It's kind of his thing. Basically, he's sensitive to this side of things. This side. This feels really familiar. Travis, it's ready. It boots up just fine. Loading is a bit unstable. Anyway, you can play anytime. Nice one, Bishop. Trav. No, don't say that. This is where we part ways. I hope your adventure goes well. Part ways. Don't get yourself killed out there. Let's meet again. If we're both still alive. Take care. Very sad. Let's hurry back home. Let's punch it. That guy. But there's a demon in his eye. Maybe he's off to the edge of the world. Whatever, let's not dwell on details. So we have the next game. A new article has been added to the archives. Deathball acquired. A new game is playable on the Death Drive MK2. Sure, let's say.
Ooh.
Okay, let's go ahead and take a break here for the next one. Okay, that's a little bit better. We are back, and for the last drink of the day, we have a helping from North Coast Brewing. Old fans of the stream might remember this one. This is an Old Rasputin. It's a Russian Imperial Stout. I wish that I was aware of what how a Russian Imperial Stout actually differentiates itself from a standard stout. Other than the fact that Russian Imperial Stouts are generally stronger in alcohol content. Let's go ahead and pour this one out. And of course, as with most ales of the stout variety, this one is particularly dark, opaque in color, if you think about it. Stouts come in many different styles. Some of them are creamier, some of them are milkier. There's a few peanut butter stouts. There's a few coffee stouts which are bitter. And yeah, they happen to be very robust, generally stronger in alcohol content. Old Rasputin itself is actually quite, I want to say it's certainly more bitter than I would expect it to be. But it's actually, I often say it's a good value for what it is, given its strength of 9% alcohol per volume. It actually does have a strong palate in terms of the range of flavors that it presents. It's a little bit better, yes, but it actually does have a very robust body. Certainly something to try at least once. Fang an ale, Wolfkin. I wouldn't say as creamy as some of the milk stouts that I prefer, but it is also supposed to be stronger, showcase its strength. Let's see what Untapped has to actually say on the subject. Old Rasputin. And so here we go. Produced in the tradition of 18th century English brewers who supplied the court of Russia's Catherine the Great, Old Rasputin seems to develop a cult following wherever it goes. It's a rich, intense brew with a big, complex flavors and a warming finish. I don't disagree with most of that. Let me go ahead and update my... And there it goes, Old Rasputin. Go ahead and check that in. Okay, so with that, let's go back, and I think we'll go for maybe another 30 more minutes. And we may have uncovered another level at this point. Hopefully, after all that dialogue, we've uncovered something. No, please don't tell me we're going back to the... Okay, maybe we need to go back. How about that? I don't really think that that's what the channel needs to see. More text. Although I have to admit that was compelling storytelling. It's not necessarily what everything that I want to showcase here. Let's go ahead and play the game. So life is best destroy. Life is destroy. Life is destroy.
It's game time.
I want to play a game. That's lovely.
Die.
die! Oh, fuck! Why do you live? The hours of famine. The wrath of Satan. Why aren't you dead? So, you like games? Let's play a game of death.
How did we just enter Death Note the game?
Guilty. Guilty. Choose. Choose.
No, not the dynamite. What are you? Okay. Honestly, there's no good choices here. Maybe the gun. It's a little more immediate.
Excellent.
Who is this guy? Life is destroyed. What is this game supposed to spoof? I was trying to do a little research while that cutscene was going, but there's no time here. Okay, so we've got a bird's eye view. The rhythm of the text will decide your fate. Okay, well that was cryptic. Forget what my combos were. Can I actually change my camera angles? Okay, go here. To clear each maze, find a way to open the path to the house and go inside. You need to take out all the enemies. Go, go, go. What? guess that just changed that block. I thought I was gonna be allowed into the house. Level up in skills. I forget what most of these chips do. And they're all charging up anyways. I would like to know when that hand pops up, what does that mean? Oh right, reds are enemies. As in the 70s. Oh gosh, I remember. I just wish that there was a way not to be bird's eye view.
Okay.
That's all we need to do. These guys don't seem too difficult, so it's not like I have to use any of my fancy attacks. Alright. Okay, so I think we are back to more conventional gameplay. White Sheep Man. Doppelganger once worked with pride to improve society, but when his intentions faced cold reality, it broke his heart. This house is where the first murder occurred. He killed his wife with a corkscrew, then he attempted to kill his daughter. Tell me more, Sheepman. Wow, this guy takes a lot to kill. Come on. What? How do I activate this thing? Here's doing the Super Mario 64 ground pound. Ah, come on. I need to find a safe spot to actually recharge my blade. Jeez, that was far more difficult than I expected. It's almost like I feel like I need a power-up. Huh. And still enjoying an Old Rasputin for those just joining us. Can't go through here for whatever reason. What an interesting location. Someone died here.
Awesome.
Can't go through the chimney? Are you kidding me? And yes, that was my time paralyzing skill. Okay. I still cannot enter the toilet. Okay. Maybe something else has been unlocked. Ah, that's a big living room. Certainly something I wish I had. Okay. Still the blood-stained kitchen. But what am I missing here? Just the fact that we're working through rooms here reminds me of that classic game, Zombies Ate My Neighborhood. Sandbug. Okay, stuff just got real. Ground pound everything. Is this gonna be an endless supply of enemies because if so, that's problematic. Oh no. Okay. Oh, this guy's tough. At some point I'm gonna have to switch over to Batman. It's not something I necessarily want to do. Oh, that guy was tough. Okay, toilet is not available. Thank goodness. The almighty John. And unfortunately, this might be our last day of the evening, but let's see what else we can do in the last 15 minutes. So we cleared the room. Nice green ending. I'm assuming now we get to go deeper into the house. Very disturbing. I wish there was something obvious that I could hit, or I think I'm just gonna go ahead and head out. So there's another case. Oh. This might as well be the only attack in these sections. Enemies aren't really that tough. Interesting. Oh no. It's quite confusing. Okay, so this is the only thing that will actually let us pass. Maybe this way. So what we're gonna do is hit it here so that it switches to a future confirmation that we prepare right here. Okay, we have progressed. Ah, of course. I'm supposed to actually go through that. These guys are, of course, easy enough to destroy using the standard attack. What am I doing here? That's not helping anything. I am perplexed. Okay, so this is what we originally did. I thought it was going to fundamentally change the way in which things were approached, but maybe I was mistaken. Okay, so we made it all the way over here, but then what? Oh, okay, now... in that direction. So then we go up, and that leads us to the next house. Maybe. What's the point of doing that? I wish it was the sort of thing that you went through this house and then you made it all the way over there. Alright, I don't think we're gonna get much farther here. Unfortunately, my powers of deduction are quickly waning. As much as I'd like to believe otherwise. But this was the first level that we explored, wasn't it? Maybe not. Okay, doppelganger. Cards. Ah, new skill chip. Okay. Well, you know what? I think we need to leave. I think it's time to draw this particular session to a close. How do we do that? We have to save. Let's see if we can actually quickly go to a save room. Hello. Log extra. Those who say they're your allies are usually bad-mouthing you in secret. Be careful of these people. Words to live by. Thank you, Bug Extra. Did that grant me access to the toilet? Because that's actually what I need. Ah, why don't you activate? Okay, can we get access to the toilet now? Ah, jeez. Okay. Okay, Bloom Bug. But we need to call it. He has a shield. He's out. Bathroom? Oh, come on now. I really am finding it difficult to find a particular way to actually do this in sequence. Captain Parliament. Ah, this guy is still... I honestly thought I had killed him. Unless it's a different one. Okay, I think we need to back out of this level. Unfortunately, my Cinderella time is here. But we'll try this again next time. Yeah, let's go ahead and save. A bit of respite in the woods. And with that, I think we're gonna call it for today. Thank you all who stuck around for most of that. It is very evident to me that that was a bit of a drag, but certainly some very interesting story beats if you were certainly in the mood for those. I certainly like the style of Travis Strikes Back, but I'm still trying to understand what the gameplay is expecting of you, if that makes any sense. All that being said, certainly like the style, and I certainly want to finish the story. So yes, hopefully you'll be back again tomorrow. I think we'll be going back to our Hades campaign. Let me know what you think about the new theme. And with all that, stay thirsty, Wolfkin. We'll see you again.